Hey, what's up, guys? What I want to talk about tonight is could the evidence in this case be tainted? I mean, in all honesty, could this evidence be tainted? Yes, it could be tainted because in that one court hearing we heard Brett Paynes state that they've lost some things. Exactly what did they lose? As well as in that same court hearing, he stated that the videos that they looked through, there was no sign of Brian's car on video. Did they lose that video evidence? Possibly. Everything surrounding this case has been fumbled and bumbled by the Moscow Police Department. At least the FBI sees that because they don't want to turn over the cast report. The FBI doesn't. Because look at Mowry. Mowry did a cast report without the AT&T cell tower data. And just like Cyree stated in the same hearing, without that data, that cast report is just a piece of paper. And we also have Brett Payne stating that he lets people smarter than him uh, do his paperwork. So, what does that say for the quote unquote lead investigator in the case? Is he a blatant moron? Possibly. Or is he just lazy and wants people to do his paperwork and research for him? Again, possibly. Yeah, as far as the whole Christchurch thing, which we know it's a cult, but is there any evidence of Brian being tied in with the Christchurch? I mean, it's possible. We don't know that for certain, but it sure is possible. Do I believe it? No. I don't believe Brian was tied in with Doug Wilson at the Christchurch. I really don't. Because we have Mr. No Quarter November, Doug Wilson, who apparently just put out a new video where he's burning bridges, or what, yeah, I guess that's a metaphoric thing for him is burning bridges. But as far as the evidence goes in this case, I mean, I haven't seen it, and we've heard Nancy Grace state last night that about the crime scene photos. I don't believe she's seen them. The crime scene photos are sealed. Toxicology report sealed. The autopsy report sealed. So exactly how did Nancy Grace see the crime scene photos? I mean, yes, she is a former prosecutor. Uh, did she pull some strings to see him? Possibly. But again, none of us has seen the autopsy report, the toxicology report, or the crime scene photos because they're sealed. Under this gag order and until trial, they are sealed. So don't go believing everything you hear from these mainstream media darlings. But I do believe the jury pool there in Latah was tainted by all the mainstream media uh, flooding Latah County and Nez Perce and Lewiston. as well as the Gonzaleses doing their own jury survey. Yes, I do believe the jury pool there in Latah was tainted because of everything. As well as I'm happy that they got this change of venue done because Ada County is less hostile towards Bryan. Because we know with the Latah County uh, jury surveys, if he's found innocent, they would burn him at the stake. They would hunt him down and give good old boy justice. They would burn down the courthouse. They would uh, have all the police officers fired, and physically he wouldn't be burned at the stake. That's figuratively, but they would. The good old boy justice is they would hang him, and then they would either that or they would let the families finish him off. See, they're in Ada County. You know, the same questions. Uh, there would be no indifference if he's guilty. It must mean he didn't do the crime. It's no big deal. See, that's the mob mentality there in Latah County, especially when it comes to Bryan. That's the mob mentality. And I really wish in this case we wouldn't have mob mentality, but we do. And we do because of people like Nancy Grace, who's sitting up there on her pedestal each and every night, casting stones at Bryan, saying, "Oh, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty," and then turning around and calling the people that support him and believe he's innocent, calling them not nice people, and saying that we are worshiping Bryan like he's a cult leader. See, when that expert stated that we're not nice people, uh, and we're fanatics for Bryan, we're not nice people, that right there made me mad. Because this man hasn't been convicted of a crime. He has not. He has every damn right, to face his accusers and is innocent until proven guilty. So why can't the mainstream media allow that to take place? Seriously, guys. Why can't the mainstream media allow that to take place? Because I believe, guys, I believe they are paid crisis actors. I do. I believe they are paid crisis actors. They are paid to be sensationalized. They are paid for their narrative. And who is paying them? I'd like to know that, guys. I'd like to know who's paying the mainstream media, like Nancy Grace, to spin out their narratives. Is it the Gonzalez family? Because we all know that Nancy Grace had Steve G on. I believe it was a week ago or a week and a half ago, and she was acting like he was king of her show, kissing his butt. And I'm sorry, guys, seeing Nancy Grace kiss Steve G's butt that night I about wanted to throw up. I really did. I about wanted to throw up. If the Gonzalez family would just stay quiet, I'm pretty sure the trial wouldn't would never have moved out of Utah, because you had the Gonzalez family, standing up front, you know, being boisterous. Oh, we're doing this for our daughter. We're doing this for Maddie. We're doing this for Xana and Ethan. If you're doing this for the Idaho 4, Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan, then why won't you guys let the courtroom narrative play out with Judge Hippler? And you guys get so bent out of shape because Brian's in a suit and you don't like seeing him in a suit because you want to see who is footing the bill for those suits so you can hold that person accountable. Little secret here, Steve. It's none of your business who's getting those suits verified and approved. It's none of your business. You want justice for your daughter. I wholeheartedly appreciate you want justice for your daughter. But when you alienate other people, just because people are pro defendant, you tell them to leave your page, that they're not on the same page as you, and if you're not with us, you're against us. Imagine how that makes you guys look in other people's eyes that believe this man is innocent. Just because you're not on the same page as somebody doesn't mean that person doesn't want justice for your daughter, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan. So, how about this? Show some humility, show some humbleness when it comes to people's feelings. And all these GoFundMe's, I will never understand, guys. Never understand all these GoFundMe's. You had the Gonzalez family. This makes their third GoFundMe. I know the second one was for paying off Kaylee's Range Rover. I don't know what the first one was for. Uh, Ben Mogan's GoFundMe, which, I give Ben Mogan props. I really do. Because he wants to take what's left over and give it to the memorial fund of the Idaho 4. Then you have the Laramies, which is Maddie's mom and Maddie's stepdad. They have a GoFundMe now. Now, are they going to do the same thing that Ben's doing? Whatever money's left over, they're going to give it to the memorial fund for her and Ben's daughter, Maddie, and then Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Are they going to do that? But then you have the Gonzaleses who keep raising that GoFundMe. First it was 50,000, and then they bumped it up to 75,000. And I'm I'm pretty sure the Laramies aren't going to bring very many people. It might just be them and maybe a couple of others for moral support, just like Ben Mogan. He wants to bring a few people, maybe two or three, for moral support. You look at the Gonzaleses, they want to bring 10 people. 10. Why so many people? You're going to have more likely, Steve Jr., Autumn, Olivia, her husband, this this elderly couple, and more likely probably the kids of Olivia and her husband. But I don't understand why they have the GoFundMe when they're supposed to be getting all this free stuff. Like uh, free Airbnbs, free food, free gas, all the freebies, okay? All the freebies. If they're getting all the freebies, why do they need the GoFundMe? And Steve and Christy also said that they want to go out and do some fun stuff with the family and go out for pizza and da 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 da. I'm not that big a fan of the Gonzaleses. I'm really not. I do empathize for them for losing their daughter. I really do, because I don't know what I would do if something like that happened to my daughter. But still, 10 people? Is this like a mini vacation for them? Is it? Is it a mini vacation for them? Going to their daughter's trial during the day, because we know it's going to be from August 11th, 2025 to November 7th, 2025. So that's, what, 4 months? 3 months, 4 months? Why bring 10 people when you have Ben bringing maybe two or three, the Laramies maybe bringing two or three, but why bring the whole damn clan? I don't understand it. Why bring the whole clan? And we know, guys, we know that the DNA evidence in this case, the touch DNA, we know that's pretty much will bunk, because the button snap of a knife sheath, of a K-bar knife. Now, can someone down in the comments tell me if it's made out of brass? Because if it's made out of brass, then touch DNA won't stick to brass. And exactly how did they get to Brian to begin with? Because if you look at it, he went and changed his tags on November 18th. Changed them from Pennsylvania to Washington. They didn't find his car until November 29th. And by that time, he had already changed the license plate, because you had this one security guard, that was looking through logs at, I believe it was 12:28 a.m. They were looking through logs. They came across Brian's Elantra. Saw it was registered to Pennsylvania. That exact same night, you had about an hour later, you had another officer go out looking for cars, looking for Elantras. Came across Brian's See, in the book, there in the guard shack, it was registered to Pennsylvania. But when the guard got to his car, it was registered to Washington. It was registered to Washington. So there's a discrepancy somewhere. Because if they didn't get to his car until the 29th, well, we all know that he left with his dad to go back across uh, the country to Albrightsville for Christmas vacation. And he more likely had plans returning to Pullman after Christmas break. But see what happens. You have the FBI or whoever it was tracking his car. Now we know it wasn't Moscow PD or Pullman because Brett Payne got an update, more than likely from the FBI, that his car had was scanned by a tag reader in Loma, Colorado. And see what I think, those two stops in Indiana, I think they were controlled stops. I do. I think they were controlled stops. Because how can a person get pulled over 2 miles apart for the exact same thing, following a van too closely? Because he gets pulled over by the Indiana state police or state trooper for following too closely. Okay, they let him go. After the officer and him and his dad was chit chatting, and that's when they were telling the officer about Brent Kopacka getting shot because it more than likely came across Brian's text alerts. You know that there was an incident there around the campus, and the incident was taken care of. So that was more than likely the Kopacka thing, because when you're going from Pullman across the country, when he was got pulled over in Indiana, it was like 6 o'clock, and it was like 6 o'clock at 6 o'clock in the evening. So that thing with Kopacka, I think it happened earlier than that. But anyway, and then he gets pulled over again, like 2 miles down the road for the exact same thing, following too closely. So, are those controlled stops? I mean, honestly, are they controlled stops? Because if you look at it, it was November 30th when the FBI and the local SWAT raided his parents' home and arrested him at three something in the morning. Because they more than likely had probable cause, even though I don't believe they had probable cause, because you had the FBI take some of the trash from out in front of his parents' house, had it flown back to Idaho, and tested at the ISP forensics laboratory, because around this time they already had Brian's DNA in CODIS, and CODIS wasn't a match because Brian wasn't a felon, so he wasn't in CODIS. So did they manipulate everything to pin this on Brian? Possibly, because if you look at it, familial DNA. I mean, it's a thing, guys. Familial DNA. Could there be a close relative to Brian that shares the familial DNA of his dad. Now, I'm not saying Brian did it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is DNA is unreliable. And in most courts, DNA is inadmissible. And I believe that we're going to see some Frank's hearings come up, guys. And Taylor's going to before trial, and Taylor's going to start suppression of evidence. Now, mark my words, she's going to try to suppress the DNA and uh, a bunch of other stuff. Brian, guys, Brian is not going to take a plea. No, he's not. He is fighting for his life to prove his innocence. He wants to be exonerated. And I sure hope he is exonerated. Is guilty until proven innocent, and mainstream media be damned. That's all I can say. Mainstream media be damned. They want us all to believe that this man is guilty and this man deserves to die. Brian has a right to defend himself against these accusations. He has a right to face his accusers. He has a right to a fair trial. And I'm sorry, guys, he is not going to get a fair trial in the eyes of the mainstream media. He's not. And if you look at it, the prosecution is going to have one tough battle ahead of them, even trying to get this man convicted, because that beloved PCA, which is irrelevant right now, it is irrelevant, has so many holes and half truths and vagueness, it will never fly. Like always, guys, like, subscribe, and comment my channel. Hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification for any new uploads. And make sure you click all so you get all my new uploads and hear my deep dives and my thoughts and my opinions. This is Robert with True Crime Podcast. I'm out. Peace. Stay in the house.